Good afternoon and welcome to this session of the Digital Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee. Today's session is a further evidence session as part of our inquiry into reality television, and we're delighted to welcome today participants from two reality shows that have been of interest to the committee. Firstly, welcome to Yewande Biala and Marcel Somerville, the former contestants of Love Island, and in the second panel we will be talking to two former participants in the Jeremy Kyle show as well. So welcome to the committee this afternoon. I wondered if you could just start off by just explaining your journey into Love Island, if you like, how you came to be on the show, how you were you approached to be on the show, or did you apply to be on the show? Perhaps Yewande, you could start.
Ladies first.
No, you go first.
Let's go first.
Yeah, you see this.
Alright, so basically, for me, I've had an agent since I was young, and the year before I actually participated in the show, they Love Island contacted my agent and said, "Do you have anyone that'd be good for the show?" They put me forward. I went through I spoke to a couple of the casting producers, done like a medical, but they wanted me to go on for the last 2 weeks of the show. And basically during my conversation with the site from their production team, I basically said I wasn't too sure if I wanted to go into the show at that time because the show didn't look very diverse to me. So I was kind of I don't want to be the first black person to be on the show as a bombshell because you've got to go in there and try and steal someone's girlfriend and do that kind of thing. I was I'm not really sure that's really my character. So they held off on putting me on that year, and then the following year they came back in contact with my agents and said, "Can Marcel come in for another meeting?" Met with the casting producers again, then the exec producers, done the medical again, and then they was basically "We want to put you on from the start of the show." So I was like, "Sweet," and that was me getting onto Love Island.
Yeah. And what at that time, what sort of work were you mainly doing?
So I worked for a music publishing company, so I was doing account management for a music publishing company, but at the same time I was still doing little shows with my band, the Blazing Squad, and but it wasn't as we were they were very few and far between. So obviously getting the opportunity to do the show, I was I kind of jumped at it because it would have been a big difference, and at the same time the company that I was working for was merging with another company and I was going to get made redundant at the same time, so it was kind of a blessing. So I was like, sweet, let's do it. Yeah. Got the show, and then life's just a bit different now.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yewande.
So I applied myself. I thought I wanted to do something different. I went for an interview, and then once I got through that, then we went to psych, and then they kind of discussed how we'd handle, how I would handle, media, fame, tabloids, stuff like that, and seeing if I was mentally fit to go on the show. And once that was assessed and I was, then I had my physical evaluation, and then we went into lockdown where I was seen by psych, and also the casting producers, exec producers as well. And then I went on the show, and then when I was dumped, when I was it was my time to go home, straight away I was seen by psych again. I went into lockdown for 2 days and I was seen by psych. I was then returned back to the UK and I was also seen by psych.
Yeah. And had you done anything, probably hard to say you'd done anything like Love Island before, but had you been on television before, done other performance work before?
No, it was my first time, Love Island, my first time.
I mean, from your experience of being on Love Island and being with other contestants in the show and maybe meeting people that have been on other series of Love Island as well, I mean, what do you think is the sort of common route into the programme? Because from some of the evidence ITV have given us, it suggests that on average probably more people are approached as you were, Marcel, than successfully apply as you did, Yewande.
So are you asking why I applied?
Well, do you think that most people on Love Island are they recruited to go on? Are they approached through agents, or do you think they're people who applied as you did, as members of the public, just wanting to be on the show?
I think it's this year. I can only speak for this year, but this year there was kind of maybe, I wouldn't say an even split, but I say 40% applied and maybe 60% then were kind of recruited by casting producers.
Yeah.
I think for my year, I think a lot of the original cast from my year, when I'm thinking about it, I think we all would have had some sort of management or someone looking after us. I think there would have been a couple people that would have actually applied for it, but I think there was quite a few of us that actually had management before we actually went onto the show. Yeah. So yeah.
And in that case, do you think that people on the show, do people on the show know each other before they go on the show? Have they worked together before, or got same agents, or been up for the same parts before?
I think, like personally me, I didn't really know anyone that was on the show apart from Mike, but I knew Mike from the area that we kind of live in. But I think there was a few people that actually had like met each other previously. So like from my year, Chloe and Kem knew each other previously, but it wasn't. But like they weren't like matey, but they kind of like knew each other from like Essex, which is a very
Okay.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? Everyone kind of knows each other, so yeah.
Yeah. And Yewande, I mean, do you feel that when you were on the show, do you feel that there is that creates a difference between the contestants, people who are in fact already on a journey to being performing artists who are used to going out for parts, who are actively seeking roles, and people that have never done anything like that before? Do you think there's a difference between people in the way they approach being on the show?
From my year, there wasn't that many people who had either done reality TV or were in like the industry. So I don't think it would have really made a difference speaking for my year.
Okay. And how did you both feel when you started filming? Did you feel that this was something? Obviously, it's a sort of it's a false reality. It's something. It's a place that's been created for the purpose of television, and it's being filmed. But did you feel like you were being given direction as to how you should interact, what you should do, or was this something natural that they were the scenario is set, but they just let you get on with it?
I think for me, that the original, because obviously the first day when you actually walk into the villa and you meet all the people that you're going to be like chilling with and all the kind of stuff, it was like very like they just wanted you to kind of go out there and do it how you were going to do it, and then like whatever the aftermath of how you came across was, that was how you was that was kind of how you was perceived. So I think like they didn't really say like, Must, go out there and say this or say anything like that. It wasn't like that. It was very much, all right, cool, you're about to walk down now, are you ready? Go do your thing. And then like, so you go down and you just do what you feel comes naturally to you.
Yeah. Yewande?
I don't really think the production or producers have like a heavy hand in like how you do things and what you say. But I think at the end of the day, it is like a reality TV. There were instances where like if I was like sitting down having a conversation with somebody else and I was saying, well, this is how I feel about this person, this is how I feel about this person, one of the producers could come up and say, well, if you feel like that, would you not, speak to that person? And I feel like things like that have to happen in order to get the storyline out, in order to get how I feel out, so the public can understand me better and the situation better. So
did you feel that? I mean, do you get feedback during the course of filming? People might say, well, avoid talking about these topics, or maybe you could be clearer in speaking about this in terms of an emotion or a feeling, or is it entirely left to you to be yourself?
It's entirely left to you to be yourself. There's no feedback given at all.
Yeah. Was that the same with you, Marcel?
I semi feel like I wouldn't say they would necessarily listen to what you're saying and be like, you need to go and say it like this or anything like that. But I think there was elements of time when say for instance you was having a conversation about something that was going on in your kind of in your like your kind of experience, and there would be times when they'd ask you to hold off on talking about it until another time when they could actually set up something to actually capture the moment. So like maybe you start talking about something and you'd be like, oh, I'm feeling like this, and then someone would probably come in and basically say like, can we just like hold off on talking about it until a later date? But they wouldn't necessarily say to you, you need to like talk about this, or you need to explain this like in this certain way. It was more like just making sure that they could get it for camera, do you know what I mean, get it for TV, just so they got that moment in its best light.
So if something had happened and they thought that's great.
Yeah, that's.
It's like saying, can we do that again?
Yeah.
But make sure we capture it properly.
No, so basically, like you could initiate the story, but because obviously they've got cameras and like, they've got someone listening to what you're saying the whole time. If they feel like it's going to be good for the storyline, they'll 100% make sure that they capture it in the best way. That's why but I think that's necessary for them to make the best TV show that they can possibly do. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're talking about something in a corner and there's only one camera capturing it, you're not capturing it in its best form. So like, I think that's more where they kind of intervene to kind of like.
But it's to capture something that's happened naturally rather than, but in a better light rather than inventing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, did both of you feel that you were satisfied with the way you were with the way you came across? Obviously you've got you're being constantly filmed, but from that a program is made which is never to be edited down.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel that it reflected your experiences of being on Love Island, and did you think it was a fair portrayal of other people you were there with?
I think for me, I feel like the way I was portrayed, because like I was the first boy on the show, like I had a bit of a tough first week because like you go through it like because the initial start of the show, like the boys the boys individually walk down, there's 5 girls waiting, they ask, does anyone fancy Mars? And then and like literally you're waiting for someone to step forward, no one stood forward, so I was like, oh my god, this is the worst day of my life. And then it's like it's basically on you to kind of like own that moment and just basically like go through it. So obviously in the back of my head I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be like, I'm basically gonna be going home at the end of this week because like no one likes me, no one fancies me. But then as the week went on, my personality, like obviously you can only come across how you're gonna come across. So my personality kind of like shone through, and then I kind of like developed friendships with everyone. And then after that first week was done, I kind of realized like I can definitely handle myself in here. And then that's when that's when I feel like my journey actually began. And I think when you watch the show, when you watch my series, you can actually see that happening. And then I got to the final, so it was like I feel they definitely put me across in the best light that they could, but I kind of think I only gave them good stuff to work with.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
They had no choice.
You know what I mean? They had no choice.
Yewande, how about you?
I think it's important to remember that we're there for 24 hours in a day, but like what's shown is only an hour. And I feel like there's different sides of everyone's personality. So in terms of editing and being shown or being perceived a certain way, I feel like they could have shown 15 minutes of like one side of your personality, and maybe that was what was shown. So I feel like it's different for everyone, because if you're there, as Marcel said, for a long period of time, every single side of your personality is shown and the public can fall in love with you. But if you're only there for a week and because of the edit or because of how you were or because of the situation you were put in, you could be perceived in a certain way, but that's not really because of the editing, it's because of the situation that you might have been in at that particular point in time when you were in the villa.
Yeah. Charles Watling.
Yes, thank you. Do you think on that point, do you think the editing was fair on you and others as you look around? Because, as you say, it's 24 hours. And the other question, of course, is do you forget about the cameras after a while? Do you just start existing there? Because you've got no phones, no television, I understand, so it's a sort of social experiment. And you've got to then relate to other people. But do you think the editing is fair? And was it fair for you? And do you think it was fair for the others?
I think for me, the editing, because obviously like they've got to try and tie in humour. They've got to try and tie in like a lot of different things. Because the first week of the show, like they made a big point of me saying I used to be in the Blazing Squad, but like and they kind of edited it together to make it look like I said it all the time. But yes. I actually didn't say it all the time. But it's one of those things when so it's the first week they're trying to get everyone to kind of like interact with everyone. So one of the video producers will come to me like, Marcel, do you want to go and have a conversation with Kim? You haven't really spoke to him. And like maybe just drop into conversation that you used to be in the Blazing Squad. So I was like, all right, cool. So I did it. I'm thinking that's TV. I might as well do it. So I did it, and then it wasn't until like I think a couple of weeks in, like someone came in. One of the new cast members came in, and they were like, oh, like, Mars, what band did you used to be in? And I was like, the Blazing Squad, and they was like, and I was like I didn't realise that it was a thing until I actually came out and there was like T-shirts maybe if I used to be in the Blazing Squad. But obviously they edited it into like a little kind of like parody kind of thing, which added comedy to the show. But at the same time, it's like it kind of like I think the show works a lot on like slogans. So like they'll make big things out of people saying things to kind of like add humour and add that kind of stuff to it. So I think with their edits, they've obviously got people who sit there and do the funny edits and do the more serious, detailed stuff. But I think for me, the edits were like that one kind of got on my nerves a little bit when I came out and everyone was doing it to me. But I kind of like learned to manage it because like the rest of the edits on me, I feel like they kind of done me justice. But there was a couple elements where I think because one of my best mates of the show, Johnny, he was like he kind of got made to like kind of be like a kind of villain in a way because of the storyline they kind of had, but like from being on there with him, I know like there was a lot more that they could have probably shown, but because they've got like each person has a storyline each week. The longer you're in there, the more storylines you'll get, and the more you'll show different sides of you, like Yewande was saying. But when it comes down to the actual to like the length of time that you're in it, if you're in there for a short amount of time and you're thrown straight into a drama, you're like you're in a love triangle or wherever it is, you're only gonna get that part of your that side of your character really shown. So it's gonna it's gonna kind of like affect you how the storyline that you get and how they would edit that storyline to make you either like the hero or the villain of said storyline.
You didn't mind what they did to you, clearly.
No, I was a hero, so like I couldn't really complain.
Yewande, did you think it's fair?
I think with editing, like they can only show what you've said and what you've done, and obviously you need to remember that it's an hour of 24 hours. But obviously with me and the way I was shown, I had like, before I left, I had a storyline. So I was shown in the way I acted and what I've done, and it was exactly the way it was. Obviously you can't show the whole situation, but it was how it was, and I was happy with it.
But what about the others? Do you feel that any of the others were depicted badly? Or?
I don't think they were deflected badly, but I think they just didn't get enough of everyone's personality out, but that's so hard to do because we're talking about an hour and we're talking about so many storylines, and you have to make TV, but that's just the way it is, really.
Everybody understood. Thank you.
You both use the expression storylines quite a lot. I mean, just in the context of the show, how would you just describe what a storyline is, just for the benefit of the community?
Alright, so basically, like I think, like a perfect example, like so for me, the first week, obviously, like I had a shocking first week, and like I think the nation, like just from coming up and looking at the Twitter and all that, everyone like, they need to send someone in from us. They need to send someone in from us. So basically, the second week of the show, they made a big thing where they was like, like they're gonna do like a blazing barbecue. Like I had a barbecue, and then all of a sudden they sent like 2 girls in, and I was like, they've sent the girls in from Mars, obviously, because it's the blazing squad barbecue. So like they sent them in, and then that week was more about me, like trying to win a girl, and then as the weeks go on, like it's basically developing the storylines, and then if like a bombshell comes in and they try and get into your relationship, that adds to the storyline because it becomes like a love triangle, or it becomes like so basically like throughout each week there'll be like different storylines for each character, like and their relationship. So yeah, that's basically where the storyline's kind of come into play.
But the storyline is, from what you said, the storyline is something that is created by the show. So you to create a scenario that put you in effectively.
Because obviously they put in the original cast, which will be like, I think it's like 5 boys, 5 girls, and then they'll throw in like a bombshell who will be the first storyline, which is who she's gonna pick. That's the storyline of like the first couple episodes. She picks someone, and then all of a sudden it's like the next week they're sending in 2 new boys or 2 new girls, and then that adds to like another storyline. So it's basically just about like throwing people into the works to like try and see who they're gonna go for, see where the drama's gonna come from, and like I think that's but that's Love Island, and that's and that's the process of the show. Like there's literally like 40 cast members each season, but there'll be like 10 originals, and then it's who they send in to kind of like stir up the pot.
I would say the storyline is kind of created by you, because it can go in any direction. Like fair enough, the producers could send someone in, but they don't know who they're going to go for. They don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like you create your own storyline, and every week is different. Like one week for my storyline was someone came in for me, and the nation got to see how, you know, I opened up and how I got to know this person, how he was taken away, and that was my storyline. And the producers couldn't have created that storyline for me because they wouldn't have known how I would have reacted to him. So I think everyone creates their own storylines, and every week there is a different storyline of what's going on, and the storyline is just what's literally going on in the villa at that moment in time in that episode.
Thank you. Ian Lucas.
Just one quick question. What surprised you most about the show?
In what way?
Was there anything about it that you didn't expect that actually happened, or something that was done differently? Something that you were surprised by?
don't know, because obviously I was going to be going on to the they asked me to go on to the year before. I kind of was watched a lot of the previous season.
So it was what you expected.
Yeah, so I kind of knew the process of how it was actually going to work. I didn't really find anything like oh my god, I can't believe this is how it's done. Like, but because obviously I previously done like TV shows with because I've done like a TV show back in 2006 called The Games, and it was basically like we had to live in a place and we had to like learn like Olympic sports and all that kind of stuff. So I was semi like used to how those kind of processes work. So it didn't really like shock me how Love Island was put together.
What about you, Yewande?
I wouldn't say anything really shocked me. I think I thought it was going to be more like intense because you watch it and there's like so much drama, but most of the time you're literally just like lying around,
until it's like challenge day. When it's challenge day, that's when it's like you're like literally running down steps doing challenges, and like that used to be the thing that used to like take a lot of the days up. But yeah, other than that, it was.
So it was less intense than you expected.
Yeah, it was very chill. That's why I say like you create your own storylines because you all you do is sit down and gossip, really.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. But because you're gossiping in the daytime, because some of the things you'd be saying will be juicy. Like I think most of the juicy things got shot that get shown happen at night time, innit? Mm-hmm. The best conversations happen at night because they can kind of say it more than like when you're in the daytime just having like a brief chat about something, and then like you say something juicy and they're like stop, wait, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Jo Stevens.
Thank you. In one of the previous sessions that we did on this inquiry, we had the producers of the show in, and we were asking some questions about the contracts that you have to sign to go on the programme, and I've got all the paperwork here. It's quite a hefty contract. So I wanted to ask you first, Yewande, when, because you applied, you were given a contract to sign, at any point were you asked whether you should, or were you advised to go and get impartial legal advice about what you were signing up to?
No, I wasn't, and if I feel like I needed to, I would have. But I'm very equipped with stuff like that, so I just sat down and went through it very thoroughly. And if I had any questions, I just called my exec.
So you went through it yourself.
Yeah.
You raised questions.
Yeah.
They answered your questions, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Now you, Marcel, you said you had an agent anyway, so I assume
so
from that.
Their litigation team there.
Yeah, they deal with your contract stuff,
Yeah.
so that didn't hold any qualms for you seeing a
no.
contract that size.
No.
Fine, okay. Do you think that there were downsides of the show at all? And if there were, do you think with hindsight they were properly explained to you before you started on the show? Yewande?
I think the downside, obviously the obvious would be like social media, and how you'd kind of, adapt to your new reality, or how you'd manage with fame and being in the public eye. And for my year, I can only speak for my season, I thought it was explained really well, and at the end of the day, there's only so much they can prepare you for. Like we seen Psych, and they said, how would you handle fame? Do you think you can handle it? How would you handle trolling? Do you think you'd be able to reach out? How would you reach out and stuff like that? And I felt like I was fully prepared, and I was mentally prepared for going on a show like that. But at the end of the day, there's only so much they can do in terms of preparing you mentally.
And all the stuff that you've described that they did for you, did they do that before you signed the contract, or did they do it afterwards?
Yeah, that was done before they told you were going on. They had like a psych evaluation to make sure you were mentally fit. And once they agreed that you weren't, then they sent you the contract.
And how about you, Marcel? Was there a downside, and were you prepared for it?
So for me, I'd definitely say the whole time being on the show, you're fine. When you come off the show, you'll be fine as well. But it's literally like because you come to the show and you're in such a spotlight. There's so much going on. So no matter what you do, like anything could be happening, and there'll be a story like that comes up about it. So the press will jump onto anything like happened to me, happened to like quite a few of my friends when we had like very public breakups, because if you come to the show like most of the time you're in a relationship, you have a very public breakup. Everything that happens during that time is literally magnified, and then like you've got the so there was a point when I was getting, there was a story would come out, and then the press would at me in the story, and I'd be like, like obviously like I don't really need to be added in the story. Like I know what's going on in my life. Like you don't need to be like making sure that I'm seeing what you're saying about me. So for that to be happening, I was like you literally start thinking to yourself, oh my God, this is like the worst period of time in my life. And then you get the trolls who are adding like fire to it, and it's like I think for me that was kind of like the worst part of actually doing the show, because obviously like doing a show is a massive gift, because you get to like do things that you never would expect to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Like your life totally changes, and it changes for the better. But with all good things, there's obviously going to be like some negative things that come along with it. And I think on my year with the aftercare, I think it was very different to Yewande's year, because like obviously they do a psych at the start of the before you go onto the show. You do your medical evaluations and all that kind of stuff, and then when the show's finished, like the first day when you come off, you do like another psych, and then like a week later you do another psych. But I think for me, the real time to be doing those psych evaluations and talking to people would be like 3 months or like 6 months down the line, because that's when you're fully into the midst of being famous and dealing with your new lifestyle. Because anyone can ask you, oh, like, do you feel like you're prepared for the fame, and you've literally not spoke to anyone apart from like the production team, your family, your friends. You haven't really been out there in the world and dealing with all of the new stuff that's going to be coming your way. So I think that they've definitely changed it now, because obviously with the stuff that happened to Mike and Sophie, like they definitely upped it and was more aware of their role in kind of supporting everyone after the show. So I think with the newer seasons, they definitely put things into place to kind of like make it like more to give you more support. But I think when my year finished, it wasn't as, the aftercare situation wasn't as blown up as it is now. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you, because I think some of my colleagues might ask you a bit more about that area afterwards. I've just got one final question, which I'll ask you first, Marcel. What role did money play on you going on the show? Were you motivated by money? Because when we looked at what was in the contract and this sort of payment that you get, we think it works out at about £2.80 an hour for your participation. Now I appreciate, it's afterwards that you might financially benefit, but was money a motivation for you?
Yeah, like I said previously, like literally the company that I was working for, I was going to be being made redundant. So it kind of came to a point when I was like, this is an opportunity. Like you don't really get opportunities like this all the time. But you got to think how many people apply for the show each year, and there's only like 40 people from each year that will get on as a cast, even if they're on for a week. Like they still see it as like a massive achievement, because there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people applying. So to be given that opportunity, it was kind of like a situation of me saying to myself, like, Mars, you can literally stay and get your redundancy package, or you can do this show, see where it leads to, and do you know what I mean? And who knows? And like, and really and truthfully, I'm glad I did it, because it literally changed my life. It literally like gave me like an opportunity to do things that I've always wanted to do, and literally like it's benefited me in a massive way. So I think like if anyone was to say like money's the definite reason that they go into the show, I don't really reckon it's that, because obviously the amount that you get paid, like you're not getting paid like loads of money each week. They're on like the more weeks you're on there, the more money you get. So if you're on there for a week, you're literally like I can't remember how much money I was getting, but it wasn't massive amounts of money. But it's always the after, like it's always afterwards bit where you kind of like make your money.
Okay, how about you, Yewande? What was your motivation?
I didn't even know we were getting paid on the same contract.
Right.
I was so shocked. But I think I just wanted to go on because I thought I wanted to do something different, something fun, something memorable. And for me, it was going on a show like Love Island. And that's why I went on. It wasn't really anything else to do with money.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Brendan O'Hara.
Thank you for going on. Can I just check, what years did you both appear?
I did 2017.
2019.
17 and 19. And you said you were given pre-show psychological testing. Do you know who provided that pre-show evaluation? Was it one individual, or was it a company, was it a group of people, or was it a number of different individuals?
I did mine with, it was Marcy. Did Marcy do yours?
No, for me it was Dr. Scott and a lady called Lou, and we stuck with both of them throughout the show and after the show was on.
And so you both had one individual point of contact throughout, before, during and after. Was it the same person who provided that support?
I think during the show, I did like there wasn't really times when I actually felt like I needed to actually like speak to anyone. Like I think if you was at any point feeling low, you could literally go to the beach hut. Yeah, I forgot what it was called. You could go to the beach hut and basically say like I'm feeling like a certain way because a couple of my mates went up and had little bits of time out from the villa and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I think for me it was Marcy before I went on the show, and then when I first came out and I was out there, like literally just left the villa, we done another one with her, and then when we got back there was someone from I think from ITV that came and had a chat with us as well.
Okay, was there ever any discussion as to who the person was that was providing it, how qualified that person was, what their background was? Did that ever come up, or did you ever ask?
No, I never really asked, but I kind of just thought it was just like a psychiatrist.
At the start of the session, when I first met Lou and Dr. Scott, like I think the first thing psychologists say is they just tell you like about their qualifications.
Did they tell you what their qualifications were?
Yeah,
the way clinical psychologist or
yeah,
whatever?
exactly. They would say my name is, and this is what I do, and this is how long I've been doing it for, and that's how they start a conversation.
Could you talk us briefly through the pre-checks that you went through before appearing in the show? Once you'd applied, what was that psychological evaluation like? What format did it take?
You know, I'm really I'm finding it hard to remember exactly what happened. So I think the first, so in 2016 when I was going to go on as a bombshell, they I think the first evaluation I done was via like a it was done by FaceTime because I think she was already out in Mallorca filming. So while they were filming, like doing the psych out there. But then I think the following year, because I was going on earlier, I done it face to face with her. Yeah, it was pretty much just asking if you've ever had like any psychotic thoughts or suicidal thoughts or anything like that, and just basically going into your background, your family home, like how you grew up, where you grew up, like those experiences, and just trying to get like a basic picture of who you are as a person.
Was that the same for you, Yewande?
Yeah, it was exactly what it was like. They just wanted to get a better picture of where you were mentally, and get to know you better as a person as well.
So before you went on the show, it was purely a conversation that you had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So there was nothing more. And how long were those conversations? How often were they? And how in depth do you think they were?
They were very in depth with the first one. Before I knew I was going on, this was just like a pre-check. It was about, let's say, half an hour to an hour. And then I did my medical, and then when I was contacted to say that they'd like me on as a cast member for this year, then I had another psych evaluation, and then when I was then flown to Mallorca, we were in lockdown for a week before we went into the actual villa, and then I had a conversation with psych and all the execs, and then once we were in the villa, there was psych on site 24/7, and that was available to us.
And the conversations that you had, do you think they were them testing you out as to how you would perform on the show, or were they seeing how you would handle the aftermath of what was inevitably going to follow from such a high-profile programme?
It was seeing if you were ready. I think it was to seeing where you were mentally and if you were mentally able to cope.
Yeah.
And it was then to seeing if and how you deal with it, because most of the questions would be like how do you feel today, and what do you like. I think before I went on, one of the questions were how would you handle not being picked, because the way coupling would work would be there would be 5 girls and five guys, and so one person would walk out and then they'd make their pick, and you could be chosen last or you couldn't be chosen at all, and they'd say how would you cope with that, how do you feel, how would you feel about that, and that's the kind of conversations we'd have.
Yeah, see, I didn't have that conversation, and then it happened, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? But no.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, so basically she
you
said
didn't
that
have a conversation like that.
No. So that question, maybe they asked that question because potentially what have happened to me the years previously, because on each season there's always been someone who's not been picked, and I feel like it's like I think it's semi down to because it does add reaction, and it does add like a cliffhanger to like the first part of the show, and it's like, oh my God, like no one's looking forward, what's gonna happen next? But it is. See, I definitely didn't get asked that question because I would have been like, I don't know what I would have said to that question. What did you say to that question?
You probably thought you were going to get picked, didn't you?
I thought I was going to get picked, but I didn't. But yeah.
How did that feel? No, I'm not. So, did you think that the conversations you had before you went on, did they prepare you for what you encountered on the show, and how did they help post the show?
I think it did help before I went on, because then I kind of had a chance to think about every possible scenario and what the outcome could have been and what it was like, so I was able to like mentally and maybe emotionally prepare myself for what could have happened. And after the show, because I was in psych a lot of the times, I think it wasn't even just about the show, it was about you, and I think with my psych, Lou, she was able to pick out some points about why I handle certain situations like this, and it was more about helping me grow better as a person. And even when we have our sessions outside, like now that I'm out of the villa, it's working on you as a person.
Okay. And during the show, were you happy with the psychological support that was available? You knew how to access it, you knew where to go, and was there a peer pressure not to, or if you needed it, was it always readily available?
I don't really feel like there was a peer pressure like not to ask for help. Like obviously, like if anyone was feeling a certain way, they could always go and have a conversation. But majority of the time on my season, everyone would just come and have a conversation with me, because literally I turned into I was literally an in-villa doctor, because everyone would come to me with their problems. But I think you knew the process, so you go to the beach hut and basically tell them like, I'm not really feeling up to this, or I'm feeling a little bit low, or whatever it was, and that would be the process of doing it. You'd have a conversation in there. Then if they felt you needed to like have like a bit of time off, they'd take you and go and you'd have a little bit of time at the villa and go and speak to Marcy. But yeah, I don't feel like there was peer pressure on like not to ask, but it wasn't anything where you'd feel ashamed to be like, nah, like I'm not gonna go and ask. It wasn't anything like that.
I think this year they did a really good job, just because during lunchtime and dinner we had welfare, and they kind of come in, and I think what they did really well was they nearly became our friends, even though they were welfare, and we felt comfortable speaking to them because we seen them every day. Once they came in, we were just really happy, because it was like seeing someone from the outside world, but who you were friends with, and you knew that they were there to help you out. So I think as time got on, before you even ask for a psych, you just sit down with Rom and say, do you know what, I just feel really shit today, or I don't know what's going on, or this situation. And I feel like that's what they did really well this year, was having welfare, and we seen them twice a day for an hour.
We didn't have that on our year. We'd have the villa producers who were literally they'd be about, if something was happening, like they'd be the person to come in and talk to you, but they'd be the people that would be sitting with you, making sure you're not talking about anything while you're doing your lunch, because during lunch they didn't film during lunch, like nothing from lunch or dinner was filmed. But yeah, we didn't have welfare on our year, so that's.
So it'd be fair to say that there seems to be a marked difference between what you experienced at 17 and what you experienced in 19 in terms of that psychological support and that availability of someone to talk to. Is that a fair assessment?
I feel like, yeah, that's based on what I've heard, yeah.
And so, were you prepared or in any way for to handle the aftermath of coming out of the show, and how long did the producers keep in contact with you once you had left?
So for me, after the show, so basically like so once all the filming in Mallorca was done, you'd come back to England, like you'd do like a little like if it was in a final, you'd do like a kind of like day with where they come and film you afterwards, and I kind of like get like all of what they up to now stuff for the reunion show. But it was more, I think once you finally done the show, I think there would have been a few people from my year that would have probably had a bit more conversations with the people with the producers from the show, because they went on and done other shows with that company. But like if you wasn't doing that, you kind of like left to your own devices in a way, because obviously you had like everyone would have come out and got like management, would have gone into like doing different routes, doing different shows and stuff like that. But it wasn't like I wouldn't say that there was like a big thing of like them contacting me being like, Mars, how's things going? It was more like if there was something coming up like an award show or whatever it was, like we'd probably like get contacted and be like, oh, like are you coming to the show, this, that, the other, blah blah. But it wasn't much of a how's things going now. It wasn't really that kind of situation. So yeah.
For me it's totally different. They keep in contact all the time, just because I feel like we built such a good relationship with all the production and welfare, and I think they also kind of follow your social media, and they'll say, oh, how was that event yesterday, or how are you keeping, or are you doing well, do you need anything, and yeah, I think the support is really good.
And one final question. Looking at the show itself, are there any particular format points in the show that you look at, you think that should be toned down, or it should be scrapped because it just puts contestants under far too much psychological pressure?
I think there's alright. So I think the lie detector, which I think they've actually scrapped that, because that was like you could see the amount of stress that people doing the actual lie detector were going through, like because on our year it was the girls, and they waited until like, and they left like the girl that I was with until the last one. So she's obviously seeing people going in, coming out, and it's just like the anxiety just building in you, innit? So I think it's good that they definitely scrapped that one, because that was, and plus you don't really know how accurate it is, like, because I'm pretty sure I've seen the same lie detector on like eBay for like £99 or something like that. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm not too sure. But like I think that, and I think obviously I'm gonna say this just because I experienced it. But I think, you know, when you walk down and they say, does anyone fancy you? Then they wait for them to step forward, and if no one steps forward, you've still got to pick a girl anyway. So it's literally like they make you do that to get that reaction, and then you've got to couple up with someone anyway, so you've got to pick someone anyway. So if they was to cut that bit out and say, Marcel, who do you want to pick? You pick that person. Even if they don't want to stay with you, they can then step forward and pick someone else. But the initial being the first person down and having to deal with that, it's mad. It's nuts.
Yolanda, is there anything from this series which you think is
no, obviously, as Marcel said, they cut out the lie detector test, so we didn't really get to experience that. So nothing for me personally.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks, Jim.
Marcel, I think you slightly answered this yourself, but just so I'm clear, with the lie detector test, you weren't given any indication as to how accurate it was. It was just a feature of the program. No,
so obviously, I think they might have tried to imply that it was definitely like 99.something% accurate. But like I just think to myself, it's one of those things where like you don't know like you can't see the person who's dealing with the data. Like you're basically going in there. There's someone else from the show. There's another cast member like strapping you into what's going on. It's not like there's a professional going, okay, like sitting next to you, like reading your things. Like you don't know who's saying, yeah, he's answered that true, or yeah, they've answered that false. It's literally you're just looking at a green light saying he's lying or he's not lying. Do you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. You don't like. If anything, that's going to make you more anxious, because you're thinking like they can literally just be like saying, oh, like we're going to make that one a lie. You don't know, innit? Like so. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that made it more stressful, because you were like, oh my god, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's not like it's being done in a controlled medical.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah. Clive Method.
Hi. Just going back on the questions from Mr. O'Hara, just going to ask something about you. Clearly are two very confident people, and you cope. You look like you cope with it very well. But did you get the impression at all when you were there that the people who were doing the psychological profiling had sort of not done a good job with other people who were in Love Island? You know, that they were. You thought maybe they're not able to cope.
I don't know, because I think everyone on my show, they were like everyone seemed like they had good personalities. They were very confident. Like everyone was everyone kind of enjoyed themselves. There wasn't anyone there that was like, oh my god, like they look like they're really having a bad time. Like there wasn't any points like that. So I think based on the evaluations, I feel like they definitely chose people who would have been who were comfortable for.
Up to it.
Yeah, they were up to it.
Is that your view?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, thanks for that. So can I just move on about social media? And were you ready for the impact on social media when you left? Do you feel that you were prepared for that? And did you get any training?
No, so like I didn't get any training on it. Like I feel like obviously like prior to doing the show, like you've got a certain amount of followers and you're feeling like I've got a decent number of followers. I had 2,000 followers, and then I came off the show and I had I think 600 and something thousand followers, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. But at the same time, like a lot of the people that are following you aren't necessarily people that like you, or they aren't necessarily people that are there to be like, yeah, we love you. Like some of them are there to like be horrible to you because or say just comment horrible things on your Instagram, because that's what people do on social media. Like it's there's a lot of trolls in there. But I think training wise there was no I didn't get taught how to tweet or how to like post or anything like that, or what to expect from it. You just dealt with what came your way. But I think in regards to the trolls and all kind of stuff, like the best thing to do is ignore them. That's what everyone always says. But I suppose when you're like going through certain situations in life and people are like raining in on those situations, it kind of like you're like you can be feeling like, oh my god, this is like I can't believe this is happening to me, and then like there's more people adding fuel to the fire, which is in turn making you feel even worse. So I think. Yeah, social media's a bit, I'm not a fan of it.
We had training before we went in on how we'd handle certain situations, and then when we came out we had like thorough training on like social media, how to like block certain words from comments, how to block people, how to handle situations, how to tweet, and what we should be careful of before we're posting images on Twitter and other social platforms.
So to sum it up, you didn't get any training,
No.
and you did both prior to and when you were leaving.
Yes.
Right. Thanks for that. And I mean, what was the type of comments? Was it on the whole good, or was it bad, or were there's abuse?
How
would you apportion it out?
I think majority of the time, like there are loads of people that screen you, because like the show was so big. You've got a lot of people that watch the show and wanted to just follow what you were doing afterwards. But at the same time, you do like you're naturally going to get people who like pretty much have like they've got zero pictures, they've got zero followers, but they're just on there to like comment like negative stuff on your thing. So they'll be racist, they'll be racist stuff. They'll just be like horrible people just saying horrible things. But it's like after all of the drama that I went through last year happened, that's when I took it on myself to kind of like go through the privacy settings and like see how I can block certain words and see how I can do that. But I kind of like done it off my own back, opposed to being like taught this is what you can do to avoid those things coming through.
And you were never advised to report any of the abuse or of any sort, or felt the need to.
Like there was a few occasions. So obviously whenever you see anything, you can do that thing where you swipe across and you can be like delete or report or whatever it is. Like and you'll do that if it's something that's really.
But you did that on your own back.
Yeah. But you do that on your own back. I wasn't showing how to do it.
And with your training, and did you have any of those sorts of experiences? And How did you deal with them? And
Yeah,
how
so
were your
they-
advice to do it?
Yeah, they'd advise it, like if you did have any negative comments, they'd show you how to block, they'd show you how to delete or report or whatever you felt was sufficient in that case.
And I mean, just can I ask? I mean, were there any threats? Was it sexist, racist, or xenophobic in any way? Or?
I think with trolling, personally for me in my profile, most of it is in my most of it are my direct messages, so they actually don't come into my inbox straight away. They're in requests. So what I've just learned to do is just not read my request.
Right, and then for you, is it
Yeah, it was pretty much the same. Like there were like a few things when it was coming through in the comments, but like obviously you can do the thing where you can block certain words. So like obviously there'll be certain words that I would have blocked, which are probably not relevant to be said here. But yeah.
And did you feel the need to contact the producers in any way after you'd left, and because of social media, because of things that happened on social media?
I think for me, I didn't really feel like. I think for me, I felt like because all the negative stuff was predominantly like a little while after. I think it was more. I think by that time, I'd kind of got into a situation where like I kind of like felt like I can deal with this. Like I've got my friends I can talk to about certain situations, opposed to going back to them because there'd been like a separation from the show in a sense.
Let me put it another way then. Do you feel that you could have done gone back to the producers if there was something that you felt concerned about that had happened on social media?
I don't know, obviously, there's always that thing where they say like if you need anything, you can always contact us. But I think with how life progresses, like you naturally just kind of like deal with things. For me, I'm always one to kind of like deal with things myself and like kind of like just use the people that I have in my circle to kind of be my support system, opposed to like going and speaking to someone else that I haven't really spoke to for like a certain amount of time.
Yeah. And so can I ask you, Yewande, as well? So was there ever an occasion when you felt you had to go back and contact the producers and you're nodding?
Personally for me, I didn't feel like I needed to, just because I was equipped with like the level of training I needed to deal with certain situations. Right. But if I felt like it was out of hand or I couldn't get on top of it because I have such a great relationship with them, I don't think I would struggle to reach out.
Okay. And was there anything, just listening to questions earlier on about the editing, we've had evidence there where it says that two separate sentences could be spliced together, which could sort of alter the emphasis of something or its meaning. Were there ever times when you were dealing with stuff on social media that you felt, well, actually that wouldn't have happened if they hadn't sort of slightly tweaked what I'd said?
I don't think there was I don't think there was any actual points where they actually like kind of like edited how like any conversations that I actually had. So I'm not too sure.
And I haven't seen where they've sliced and cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Just one quick follow-up question from me. And Marcel, you mentioned that you block certain words and things on social media. I mean, looking at there's been recently quite a lot of focus on sort of racially motivated abuse that footballers like Paul Pogba have received. I mean, from your position, do you think is that a sad reflection on society? Is that something you just have to price in? That there are idiots out there that will post comments like that, and you just have to manage it? I mean, it's a tragic thing to say. Yeah. Could you relate to the experience that other people go through? I
100%. I can definitely relate to those instances because it's like you said, Yewande, like there'll be a lot of times like in your direct messages you'll literally get sent the most random things. The girl that I came off the show with was getting sent some absolutely vulgar stuff because she came to the show with me and she was Caucasian. So like it's like there's definitely elements to society where there will be people who kind of feel like they can say that kind of stuff but like they obviously do it behind like a shield of their phone, and like they probably wouldn't say it to your face if they was to like come up close to you, but because I don't know, like mentally or whatever it is, they feel like they need to say horrible things to people. So yeah.
Slight change of tone. We We're going to play a short clip from Love Island, which will be on the screens here, be up in a moment. And it really we just want to discuss a couple of issues around that have been raised about the show, certainly about sort of body image issues, diversity in the programme, the way people are presented. And we just want to introduce that with a clip, and then Julie Elliott will have some questions on that. So we'll just watch the clip now. For those watching on the Parliament channel, this will be screened on the Parliament channel as well. So if you don't want to watch it, look away now.
Here comes the boys. And oh dear, these are the least convincing looking rabbits I've seen since the BBC did that Watership Down remake at Christmas. 3, 2, 1, go! In this challenge, the boys will be the girls' very own personal trainers. Anna's not coupled up, so she's chosen Jordan to be her coach. While single girl Lucy has picked Anton to be her personal trainer. The course is made up of 4 stages, and over 2 heats, the girls will battle to complete it in the fastest time. First, the girls race to down a rabbit food protein shake while running on a treadmill.
Go on. Don't worry about that. Keep going.
It just tasted of like... bleh.
Let's go. Go on, girl, keep it going. Drink that juice. Woo!
I thought I had quite a strong stomach. It turns out I don't.
Come on, girl. No, maybe.
When they finish the shake, they jump on a box and do 10 bunny hops.
9, 10. All right, done. Next.
Then, while on a rowing machine, they must munch a carrot without using their hands. Sorry, pause. Finally, the girls complete 20 sit-ups, delivering a bunny kiss to their boy each time.
20 sit-ups.
Elliott.
It's been fascinating listening to you. Earlier on, you said that you thought it was about a 60-40 split of people who'd been kind of got through agencies and whatever, or just applied. Actually, of the 36 contributors, only 6 came from general applications.
Really?
Yeah. In this series. So do you think that, and especially after watching that, do you think that Love Island producers have an ideal contestant in mind?
An ideal contestant. This year I'd say no, just because everyone talking about like the original speaking. Everyone was so different, we were from different places, studied different things, and we all look different. So I don't think there's an ideal contestant.
Right. And what about in the previous series that you were involved in, Marcel?
So in the year the year that I'd done it, like I think I was the first like fully black contestant to actually appear on the show. So I think as the years have gone on, you can see that like they've tried to add more diversity into the show 100%. But I think maybe them putting me onto the show was probably because I've had like a background in doing those kind of things, so maybe like my personality and the way that I kind of carry myself would be very much suitable for television and to also be like a black male. It kind of added like a bit of diversity to their show, so maybe that was one of the...
But you were the third series, weren't you?
Yeah,
so
the
there'd
third
never
series.
been a person...
So prior to that, the 2 years before, they had Rycard, who was mixed race, and they had Marlon, who was mixed race, and I think a guy called Troy, who was also mixed race. But then on my year, like I was literally, they had me as the first black male, but then they had Theo, Montana, and what's his name? I forgot his name. Simon, like.
But we're kind of in single figures, people who are non-white, out
Yeah.
of over 100 people who've taken part.
Yeah, literally.
Which is not really very good, is it?
There's only 40 people who took part, not 100.
Sorry?
You said out of 100 people that took
Well, the
part?
3 series up to
Oh.
Marcel.
Yeah.
Marcel
Yeah,
was in the
so
third
yes.
series. So it's about 30
Yeah.
to 40, isn't it, per series?
Yeah, basically.
Do you feel, Marcel, that happens all the time, don't worry about it, that the producers had an ideal type of person that they wanted on the show?
I definitely feel because obviously I said earlier I didn't want to go on to the second season of the Bombshell because I had an actual thing from watching the show that I was going to be very much alienated on the show, and I kind of felt like I didn't want to be like a character going there, going on there trying to steal someone's girlfriend, because that's just gonna make me like into like a kind of like a negative kind of like negative caricature on the show anyway. So I was like, nah, like I don't really want to do that. And then the following year, I think they definitely I think they definitely wanted to add a bit of ethnicity to the casting. And I think as the years have gone by, like even the year after mine, they had Samira on there from the start. She was the first black woman to actually be on the show. So I think they've definitely made a conscious effort to add diversity to the show, because even on you had Sharif and you had you at the start of the show, innit? So they've definitely done that.
Love Island's been criticised quite extensively for its lack of body diversity. People's shapes, sizes, whatever. Do you think the producers should be selecting contestants from a greater range of types of body type?
I think personally it's a little bit unfair to say it's a reality TV show issue. I feel like this is a social issue. I think it's a social issue, the body diversity issue. And I think society they've ingrained what an ideal body type is, and I feel like because of that only certain type of people would apply for the show, so they can only cast people on and who's applied.
Except that we've already seen that most of the people who appear on the show are actually people they go out and seek, as opposed to people who just apply. I think you're very unusual to have just applied, on spec. And I think personally we should have far more people who just apply like you do. So the producers of the show actually go out for specific people. And clearly when they went to your agent, Marcel, they knew who you were, what you looked like, what your shape was, and I presume that's the same for all of the other people that they go out and seek. So I accept body image as a much bigger thing, but programmes like Love Island do have huge influence on not just young people, but a lot of people in society. So they actually probably should be even more responsible in who they choose to come on, and that's why I'm saying, do you think they should broaden the range of body images and types and bills of people that they have on the show?
I think it would definitely make. I think it would definitely add more to the show, because it's not just like athletic built people that fall in love. Like there's like all different kinds of people fall in love on the show, and like so in real life. So
I hope it would be so. Good to, life would be very boring.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That, do you know what I mean? So potentially it would be good for them to have a bit more variance in the figures and the shapes of people that they put on the show.
And what about you, Yewande? What do you think?
Yeah, it'd be definitely greater, and it would be nice if people of different body sizes, shapes applied for the show as well. I think that would make a huge difference in casting.
And in terms of your own personal experiences, did either of you feel any pressure to change the way you look to appear on the show or after the show? Was there any pressure in that direction?
I don't feel like there was pressure, but I feel like you would I was very conscious that because I went into the show when I was 31, which for the show is reasonably old. So I was like, there's gonna be all these young whippersnappers on there. They're gonna have all their six packs. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be in the gym, gonna get my six pack on. I'm gonna be looking good, and I feel it just adds to confidence on the show. And like if you go into the show and you feel confident in yourself, then you'll be more confident in putting yourself across, opposed to like if you was feeling like anxious or insecure about how you was looking, you would 100% go into the show and be feeling like nervous and worried about what people are gonna think of me and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but even saying that, it doesn't matter how prepared you are, like physically or whatever it is, like you never know what the other people are gonna think of you from the start of the show anyway, so yeah. And
at no point nothing was said to you to change the way you look or anything? It was your personal...
Well, I don't know whether or not they can actually see that I obviously go to the gym and I was looking after myself, but there was never any real pressure to be like, Marsh, you need to make sure that you've got like a six pack and biceps by the time you go into the show. It was nothing like that. It was more like, oh, Marsh, I'll see you when the show starts, innit? Because they kind of knew that I'd done it already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And Yewande, what about you?
I wouldn't say there's huge pressure, but like for any holiday, you want to look your best. Like if you know you're going to be in bikini for 8 weeks,
Yeah, sure.
like you'd want to look your best, and that's not even for a TV show. If you were going on holiday for like 2 weeks and you knew you were going to be in bikini, like you'd want to look your best. So I don't think there's any huge pressure. I think it's just the way it is. Like
You feel?
yeah, the way you feel.
Mm.
You don't have to go to the gym if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just a personal choice.
Yeah.
And do most of the people that you talk to who you appeared on the shows with, did they all feel the same about this, or was it never discussed? Or
It actually was because I think if we talk about the original lineup, I think out of all the girls, me and Lucy were the only people who actually went to the gym. Like who regularly goes to the gym. Like I've been going to the gym for like 3 years.
Okay.
So no one else did.
And when you were on, was it discussed or?
No, well, I think it was literally like a natural thing that the boys would literally get up and go over because there's like a little gym area in the garden, and like the boys that wanted to train would literally get up in the morning, have breakfast, and then go down, and literally like whoever was going to come out, and majority of the time all of the boys would come out and like do a little something in the morning just to beef up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Can I just ask something?
Yes.
Yeah, it was just going back on the social media, just how much of the social media commented on body image and focused on that. Was there a lot of negativity around that? I mean, you're able to comment.
So I think obviously when you come off, because like a lot of the campaigns that you get when you come for the show are very much like there will be fashion, or you'll be like in like some swim shorts or whatever it is. Like I think I feel like you naturally feel like you need to maintain your image, because obviously like because I think.
But was it commented on a lot?
No. Well, there was one post when it was because I think I finished the show in October, and obviously like you finish the show, you're relaxing a little bit, and I was doing a show, and there was a show like and part of the show I had my top off, and someone messaged and was like, Marcel, where's your abs gone? And I was like, bloody hell, mate! It's only been a month, but I think I just eaten before I'd done the show as well, so it weren't really flattering me. But yeah, there's little things like that, but obviously like you kind of like just take them as like a kind of joke in a way, because like obviously like like you're not like you've not lost your way. Do you know what I mean? You're still in some sort of shape.
We've all just eaten as well. That's so. But was it any experience for you in terms of comments about body image and negativity around that, and the social media reaction afterwards?
I think everyone gets like 1 or 2, but I don't think it's like anything huge that would like make me upset in any type of way. And there's always the delete button as well.
Okay.
If I could just ask, just following the film clip, I mean, there was obviously the gym bunnies routine. I mean, some people might say it portrayed a certain sort of stereotype of female beauty, of women, having the girls dressed in bunny costumes perform that. Do you feel sometimes that the show crosses the line in the way it depicts women in particular? Yewande?
No, I don't think I've ever thought about it. Most of the challenges that we do, they're just like really fun. I think we just appreciate actually getting out the house. That I've never really sat down and thought about how it reflected women in any type of way or form.
Yeah. I mean, what do you feel, Marcel? I mean,
I don't know, like, because obviously, like when you're doing the challenges, like everyone's majority of the time really comfortable in what they're doing, because you got to think like we've been wearing bikinis and swim shorts for like the majority of the time that we're out there. So like when the girls put on like something like that, they just feel like they're putting on like another like swimsuit. Do you know what I mean? So I think and also I think when you actually go into the show that some of the costumes that you wear, they are very sexed up costumes. Like it's that even the boys, like some, like we have to wear like speedos and stuff like that, and I wouldn't usually wear speedos, but you're wearing speedos, but you don't really look that bad in speedos, so like you're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna just own it, but it comes down to confidence again, innit? Like, so I think they obviously put people on there who they know are like up for having a laugh and up for having fun, and I think that kind of goes into like why they ask you the kind of questions they ask you prior to the show, like what kind of, are you outgoing, like do you mind this or whatever it is, and I think I can't really speak to girls because like obviously like I'm a guy, like, but if you felt comfortable with wearing the stuff, it's like you feel comfortable with it, innit?
Yeah. But for both of your experience, is that something you feel that maybe after the show people have reflected on, or people have questioned at the time, or have people just gone along with it because that's the show?
I think I'm speaking for myself and speaking for the girls who were on at the time that I was on, we actually enjoyed it. Like, we enjoyed the bunny costumes. Like, we were super excited when we seen them, and when we did the Bridezilla challenge and we got to pick our dresses. I think it's just because from like being in a villa and doing nothing the whole day, and you get that like little piece of something, you're just super excited. And I feel like if they ever crossed the line and someone wasn't comfortable enough, because like we were just really good friends with production, and we felt safe and we felt comfortable, that we would be like, oh no, I don't want to wear this, or I don't feel comfortable wearing this. So I don't.
So you felt you could if you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and did people do that from time to time?
It didn't happen because, as I said, everyone was super excited when it came to challenges. But I do feel like if they needed to, they would have.
Yeah. Okay. Charles Watling.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just quickly, a couple of things I'd like to clear up. You mentioned this thing, lockdown. What happens with that, this lockdown? Are you completely isolated? Or what?
Yeah, so, do you want to know?
For my lockdown, you were chaperoned by one person for the whole week, and you weren't completely locked down. Like, you could go out and do whatever. You had a schedule. Like, my chaperone was very, very much for going out every single, not out, just like dinner, drinks, or doing whatever. And in that time as well, you'd also speak to the execs, and you speak to psych, finance, you speak to everyone, and you'd get that sorted in the 1 week.
And are you isolated on social media and everything during that period? You're not chatting to anybody?
You don't have your phones at all.
Right, okay. And that didn't worry you at all, that was fine?
I didn't even want my phone, because at that time I knew I was a public figure. Right. So I didn't even want it.
Okay, all right, okay. And it didn't bother you either?
Yeah, no, so so obviously when you go through the chaperoning and all that kind of stuff, like they take all your valuables, your phone, like any watch, because obviously they don't need to know the times and all that kind of stuff, because they want you to be totally just out there. But yeah, like I think the having the phone situation, it didn't really bother me, because you kind of like accept it. Like prior to it, like I think that's why they do the whole lockdown thing, because you're out and you're just like you're totally cut off from the public in a way. Like, obviously you're interacting with people that are in the same areas as you, but I think they kind of do it as a kind of preparation. So when actually onto the villa, you don't worry about your phone. You're not even caring about any of that, because I think even the day when I came out of the villa and I turned my phone on, I literally looked at it. It was like all the numbers were ringing up, and I was like, I don't even want to look at that. Like it's just I'm gonna just leave it for like a couple of days. Then you come back home, and then you've got to like actually, for your management, for your social media, for all the campaigns that come your way, you've got to like start actually actually getting back to getting used to re-engaging.
Okay. We've got some evidence in the brief that one of the contestants, because you're denied access to television, radio, phone, etc. Do you ever get bored? Somebody did. Was it ever boring?
I think you're. I think on my year, like we done a lot to kind of entertain ourselves, like because like we had quite a few characters on our show who would be very much entertainment based. So we'd make up songs, we'd make up games, and just kind of like
keep yourself going.
Just keep ourselves going. But I think they I've spoken to a couple of people from the years after that. I've kind of said, yeah, it's just bare boring in there.
Okay.
You really do nothing.
Okay. And you
no,
never bored? You just
like Marcel said, I think everyone just kind of has fun with each other and just like have the absolute laws, make up songs, and we're always gossiping anyways for the whole day. So I don't think you get bored, and sometimes you actually just want to relax and do nothing and just lie on the day beds and just catch up really.
Okay, and just one sort of other on this part of it. I mean, is alcohol part of it? Are you given drinks?
So basically, like because they don't want you to be like drunk, like you literally would get like 2 drinks a night. So that's basically like you can get like 2 glasses of wine a night, and that would literally be the limit. Like you wouldn't get any more than that, because they didn't want anyone to be like
So it wasn't used as a tool to...
No.
Okay.
Not on Love Island, not on Love Island. They made a big thing about saying, like, we didn't want it to be like a thing where we just play with alcohol and then you lot just do things, because you never know, people might regret doing certain things if they're under the influence. So they made a big deal of being like you're gonna get 2 drinks just so you can like relax during the night, but no one's gonna be drunk.
And the other question I've got is these trips to the beach are fascinating. Are these in total confidence? I mean, when you go
So anything that's said in there to the people in the villa, it's not like no one will get told what you said in the beach hut.
Right.
Within the villa, obviously, like what's being said in the beach hut is getting broadcasted to the whole entire world, but they can't directly influence. Well, not everything that's being said in there, but like things that are.
Oh, so they broadcast what's in the beach?
Yeah. So there'll be elements where but the majority of the time, the things that are broadcasted are the things where, like, if you've done a challenge, they'll bring you in after you've done a challenge and say, "Oh, so how did you find the challenge?" But if you go to them off your own personal back and say, like I'm feeling a bit ill, can I do this, whatever it is, that won't be broadcasted to the public. It's only things that will tie into the storylines and tie into
I just want to get that clear. Moving on, looking at life after Love Island now, did you have any expectations of what that would be, how it was going to go? I mean, and did it live up to your expectations?
So basically, from seeing the people that done the year before my show, obviously, like I knew, like you become like a social media face. You like for the guys, you do a lot of PAs. Like if you're a popular contestant, you will do like a load of PAs. And like that's something what I was more expecting, but the vastness of the things you get asked to do. So I've written a book, I've done all these different things, and it's like you don't naturally expect to be doing those things, but you do get a lot of benefits from doing the show more because I think my year was the year that kind of propelled it into like the actual like nationwide.
And when you say PAs, you're talking about things like opening nightclubs.
Exactly. Stuff like that.
Kind of thing. Yeah, okay. And Yewande, did it? What were your expectations of after the show? And how's it? Because it's early days yet, isn't it? Really,
it's early days. I tried to go in and have I didn't want to have high expectations, or I didn't want to think certain things would come from it. I just kind of went in there for the experience. So then coming out now, I'm just kind of dealing with everything that kind of comes with it.
Okay, and you're getting help and guidance on that?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Okay, that's good to hear. So, has it, having, and I think this is really more for Marcel because there's been more time, you're now a reality TV star. Has that placed any restrictions on what you can do?
So, when you do a show like Love Island, like for what I found is like all the shows that you kind of get offered to do after you do them are basically based on your love life. So you'd either do like more dating shows or actually like there were other things that I do, like so you'd be on panels. I've done a couple other ITV stuff, but I don't think being a reality star really restricts you now because obviously like with Love Island you do. It's like my agents will always say, like if anything's happening, they will always ask, have you got anyone from Love Island on your books? Like that's one of the big things that they kind of got that a lot of companies, a lot of brands will go for now because they know how big the show actually is. So it doesn't really restrict you from doing things, but obviously I still make music, I still produce music and I DJ and stuff like that. So it's if anything, it kind of works in my favour. But at the same time, as a DJ, like because you've been on Love Island, if clubs are looking to book people, they won't necessarily book you if you've been on Love Island. Like so because I was on Love Island in 2017, if you're trying to get booked as a DJ now in 2015, they'll still look at you as from Love Island opposed to as the DJ. So like unless you've like
no restrictions. It's all good news as far as you're concerned. But Yewande, I understand you're a scientist, and so you've come out Love Island, and do you want to carry on being in the world of science, or?
Yeah, definitely. Eventually, I will go back, and I get calls at least once or twice a week from different agencies to be a consultant, so I know it's not an issue to
And it's
go
not going to
down.
be an issue.
It's not going to be an issue at all.
Okay, well that's good to hear. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think that concludes our questions for this session. We'd really like to thank you both for giving the time to come in and also being so sort of candid and open in the answers you've given. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks.